After pushing bowling ball-sized creatures through a small passageway, I lost the ability to hold in my pee. I peed when I stood up, I peed when I walked, I peed when I laughed, I peed when I jumped, I peed just about every possible moment. Post-childbirth urinary incontinence is very common, and yet I felt a lot of shame and embarrassment about my situation. And after many years of trying different types of diaper products, I finally built up the nerve to tell my OBGYN about my problem. And she said, "Oh, I'll just send you to pelvic floor rehab." What? Pelvic floor rehab? I have never heard of such a thing. I went home, looked it up. It's a physical therapist for your vagina. It's a physical therapist for your vagina. Why aren't we shouting this from the rooftops to everyone we know? So fast forward, there I am lying naked from the waist down at the Pelvic Floor Rehab Center of New England. And my new physical therapist says to me, "I'm gonna need to insert 2 fingers into your vagina, like so. And I'm gonna ask you to Kegel around my fingers so that I can measure the strength of your vagina." Now, through a clap of the hands, tell me, how many of you know what a Kegel is? Okay. I see that most of you have clapped, but I'm gonna tell you anyway because I don't actually believe you. A Kegel is the strengthening and releasing of the pelvic floor muscles, and it's incredibly important to strengthen those muscles, just as it is to strengthen, say, your lower back or your triceps. And the way I was taught to Kegel, which I'm not gonna teach you, is you pretend as though you're sitting on the toilet and you're about to pee, and that you're gonna squeeze to stop the flow of urine. And at the same time, you're gonna squeeze to hold your anus shut. So it's a 2-part, front and back. Go ahead and give it a try. 2-part front, it's very hard to do, but when you do it, front and back at the same time, that is a Kegel. So let's go back to inside my vagina where we are with the physical therapist. And we're gonna Kegel to the count of 5, which I'd like to do as a group because whenever would we have a chance to Kegel as a group together. So let's Kegel, and Kegel, 2, 3, 4, you're not Kegling, 5. And release, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, she says. Okay, she says to me. I understand what's happening. She says, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the weakest and 5 being the strongest, your vagina measures in at about a 1.2. Oh my God, that's pathetic. That's the most pathetic vagina I've ever heard of. She said, but wait, there's a larger issue. She said, you're not releasing on the release 2, 3, 4, 5. You're not letting go. You're staying tight. You're staying tense. And then she said the most amazing thing anyone has ever said to me. She said, you have a tense vagina. Are you saying that in addition to living my entire life in a ball of stress and anxiety, that my vagina is separately stressed? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. If it was tense, wouldn't it hold all the urine in? And she said, well, actually, that's a common misconception. Because when your vagina is tense, it's in a constant state of spasm. And that spasm sends a message to your bladder as though you're full. And that fullness leads to a sense of urgency and urinary incontinence, which is what I suffer from. So I said, well, shit. What are we gonna do about this? And she said, imagine if you walked into a physical therapist's office with tense shoulders, and you had tense shoulders. What would the physical therapist recommend to release and relax your shoulders? Let me just think about that for a second. Massage it? Exactly. Then she walks over to the desk in the office and opens this big drawer and pulls out a vibrator that is in plastic packaging that on the front of it says, "Big, hot, wet cock." She hands me the packaged vibrator and says, "That'll be $20. Insurance doesn't cover it." So I give her the money, she gives me the vibrator and a set of instructions that I bring home. And in the comfort of my home, I open up the vibrator and read the instructions. Please insert the vibrator into the vagina to the depth of the first knuckle. First knuckle? Which is the first knuckle? Is it the thumb or the index finger? I'm going thumb because it's shorter. Turn on the vibrator and move it in a clockwise fashion. Clockwise fashion. Is it clockwise for me looking out or the vibrator looking in? I don't know. On my next visit, I'm given something called a biofeedback machine. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, a biofeedback machine is a box. It looks like a box with wires that come out the end of it. And at the end of the wires are probes. And the probes are attached to the right and left side of your anus. So my physical therapist spread my butt cheeks and attached this probe to the right and left side of my anus. And at the same time said to me, "Don't worry, no one knows where they're attached." And I thought, well, good, because that's embarrassing. So I walk out into the physical therapist's office to do my Pilates with everyone else. And what do I see but 5 other people with wires coming out of their assholes? What's amazing about the biofeedback machine is that since it's connected so closely to your genitalia, it is an advanced it measures the strength of your vagina in this very advanced way. So my physical therapist said to me, "I want you to Kegel at like a 3.4 on the Richter scale." I don't know the technical, I don't know the term, I just call it a Richter scale, which is a very different kind of Kegel intention than like a 5.2 on the Richter scale. And I'm very proud to say that I am an advanced Kegler, and I hope one day you too can aspire to such Kegel greatness. But the point is that after Pilates, more Kegeling than I could possibly imagine, putting a vibrator in my vagina, not for pleasure, using a biofeedback machine with anal probes, things begin to shift. They begin to release. They begin to relax. They begin to strengthen. My vagina begins to function the way it was designed to function. And I no longer pee in my pants anymore. And how amazing is it that there's something out there that exists that I don't have to feel shame and embarrassment about, because pelvic floor rehab exists to help each and every one of us. And let me tell you something. A happy mother is a happy vagina. And a happy vagina is a happy mother. And a happy mother is a happy woman. And a happy woman is a happy vagina. Thank you very much.
Put your hands together for Sara Juli.